All right, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order for ANC 5F. We'll start with a roll call for the commissioners since we have quorum. Commissioner Jones?
Present.
Commissioner Asani?
Present.
Commissioner Williams? Do not see Commissioner Williams online. Commissioner Galvan, I am present. Commissioner Anderson?
Present.
Commissioner Bishop Henchman?
Present.
And Commissioner Zenjon. Do not see Commissioner Zenjon online, but we have 5 commissioners here, which is a quorum, so we will call this meeting to order. We'll start with the approval of the agenda as noted. Thanks to all the commissioners for your input. I know there was a late request to review the Q2 QFR by Commissioner Sani. Are there any other additions or subtractions from the agenda for this evening? And for those of you who are online, the agenda can be found at anc5f.com, and it's under the home screen that is currently open. I'll start with myself here. I got a late request from the BZA application, Sarah Harcum, their legal representative, that they would like to postpone that. So that is item 11. C as in cat will be struck from the agenda. It was requested to be struck from the agenda. Do I have any objections? No. Okay. So Commissioner Sani, would you like to add the Q2 QFR to the agenda?
Yeah, I would like to move to amend the agenda to add approval of our Q2 2025 QFR to the agenda.
Okay. Are there any objections from commissioners? Hearing none.
Where are we adding it? Under treasurer's report or somewhere else?
Good point. Yes, I think we can order. Let's we'll add it to item 8, presentations relating to agenda items. That shouldn't be that long, but I'm sorry, that needs to be under the action agenda for the QFR approval. Is that acceptable? Sure. Okay. There aren't any objections. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor say, or all not in favor say nay. All right, in the eyes of the chair, the ayes have it. So the request for the 2025 Q2 QFR has been added under item 10. Are there any other items to the agenda by commissioners? All right, seeing none, we'll just do a quick roll call approval of the agenda. Is there a second to approve the agenda?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Jones. Any objections? None. We'll go to a roll. I'm not hearing any. We'll go to a roll call vote. Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Sani.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams. Not present. Commissioner Galvan. Aye. Commissioner Anderson.
Aye.
Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Aye.
And Commissioner Zenjon is not present. So with 7-0, or sorry, 5 to 0 to 0, the agenda has been approved. We will move forward. Approval of the minutes, Commissioner Jones, I'll let you
Sure.
discuss them.
Yes, so the minutes were sent out to the commissioners on March 27th to review and also add additional comments. There are a few things that I either missed or needed additional details on, and commissioners provided that additional insight into the minutes. I provided additional feedback and went through to make edits over the last week, and they are in the commission or on the commission website and saved within our files. Are there any additional comments on the meeting minutes?
Commissioners, yes, go Commissioner Soni.
One slight tweak, thank you for being receptive to the revisions. On the QFR line item, just making sure we call out it's 2025 in addition to Q1.
Okay, I can do that.
That is my only request for that one.
Okay. Are there any objections to that change? I think there are. All right, we'll go ahead and make those adjustments. Commissioner Jones, anything else?
No.
We'll move to
Approve.
approve. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Commissioner Soni. We'll go to a roll call vote. Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Soni,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams, not present. Commissioner Galvan, aye. Commissioner Anderson. You're muted, Commissioner Anderson, if you're speaking. This is to approve the agenda. I'm sorry, approve.
I'm sorry. Aye.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Aye.
All right, and Commissioner Zenjon. He is not present. All right, and as the chair, we got 5-0-0. The meeting minutes from the last meeting have been approved. Moving right along, we'll go to officer reports from the chair. I want to make a note about, actually, from the chair portion of the commission, I will defer my comments and make comments under the announcement from commissioners, since it's unrelated to official business. Commissioner Anderson, do you have any comment or officer reports?
I yield.
Okay, thank you. She yields her time. Treasurer, Commissioner Soni.
Yeah, let's see. Our bank balance at the end of March, so our statement for March has us at $43,000, sorry, $43,093.94. That does not reflect the grant that we voted on to approve for the Friends of Metropolitan Branch Trail. That check was ended up being cashed last week, so that amount will be reflected on the end of April's statement. In the process of mailing out that grant, they requested it via mail. I opted for certified mail for the tracking and just general peace of mind of mailing a check. So I will come to the commission next month with a request for reimbursement for that. Now with at the same time, because we were behind on our QFRs, we ended up having to approve our QFR for Q1 last month. We're now on Q2. The hope is that with the approved meeting minutes from that we just did, we will be fully in the clear for Q1. And the Q2 stuff should be operating at a normal cadence now. Just general reminder, as we issue grants, it is imperative on the ANC who has sponsored the grant to be following up with the grantee to make sure the closeout documents for the grant are filled out, because that is part of our reporting duty. It's part of our responsibility for stewarding these taxpayer funds. So just encouraging folks that as we continue to discourse about grants and how they may integrate with our community, that we also make sure that we are we're crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's, and making sure that OANC and the city don't see a reason to withhold money from us for improper use of grant money. So I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but just making sure we've got that muscle developed as we enter that 60-day window. That is the treasurer's report.
Great, thank you very much, Commissioner Sani. Secretary, any officer reports?
No reports from me.
Thank you very much. Now we will start in the public comment period for ANC 5F. We'll have roughly 10 minutes total, up to 2 minutes per speaker. This is the opportunity for members of the public to speak on anything related either to commission business or non-commission business that they want commissioners to be aware of. So we will open the floor. If you're in person, raise your hand. If you are online, please make a note. You can raise your hand online, right? Yeah, you raise your hand online as well, and we'll go through the order to recognize folks for a couple minutes apiece. So yes, there's a couple members of the public in person, so we will have them first. And sir, can you state your name and either where you represent or roughly where you live? You don't have to share the exact address, of course.
Kennard Bower, a violence intervention specialist in the Edgewood community for Ward 5. We are now under a safer Ward 5 versus, we used to be Ward 5 violence prevention. We're no longer under that, so it's a safer Ward 5 now. I just want to introduce myself. So any questions in regards to violence interrupters, you can ask me, you know.
Thank you.
Great,
Nice
thank
to
you
meet
very
you.
much. Other members of the public? Yes, go ahead.
I'm Isadora. I live on 3rd and Parr. I have 2 questions. First is I heard a rumor that there is it's a good rumor, that there is a business coming to the little space in Alethea Tanner Park. And I was wondering if that's true, and if it's not true, I was wondering if we could use the pop-up permit program, which I discovered by reading deep into Zachary Parker's weekly email. So that's my first question. My second question is, it's been 2 years that I've been asking for bollards for the Metropolitan Branch Trail, and like I'm fed up. Yesterday there was someone in Alethea Tanner Park they did 2 donuts at 5:30 in the afternoon in an actual car. Yes, your face was my face. And they hopped the curb. There are bollards there, but they hopped the curb, but it's possible to hop the curb over there. There are bollards by S Street, and I don't know if that's part of this ANC, by the brewery, by Lost Gen, but they've been pushed out of the way. There are bollards at the bottom of Randolph, the big planters, but one of them is spaced enough that you can carefully drive a car through it. But really the one that's like the most glaringly obvious is the one at the bottom of R Street that dead ends into Fort Myer. And I've been banging the drum about this for 2 years. And like, I just don't know what, I don't know why people haven't said yes.
Thank you. Yeah, so we'll just for point of order, we'll go through all the comments, and then commissioners will have the opportunity to respond if they wish. Next hand I saw was William Shelton. You're going to be recognized here shortly.
Good evening. I just wanted to, follow up on Kennard's, who is there as our violence intervention specialist. I just wanted to let you know I'm the director of the Safer Ward 5. We're the violence intervention grantee for the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. And I just wanted to let you know that not only do we have the whole Edgewood community, we have most of Ward 5. And just wanted to let you all know as commissioners that we will try to attend most of the meetings. We're going to try to, Kennard will be present, and Alicia, who's also our other specialist, who has the kind of greater Edgewood area. And we just wanted to introduce ourselves and let the commissioners know that, someone from our team is going to probably try to attend most of the ANC meetings. If you have any issues or concerns, or, if you ever just need us to kind of come and give you some understanding of what's particularly going on in a particular part of the community, we can do our best. As specialists, our job is to kind of work with a specific population around trying to decrease violence in the communities. But I just wanted to introduce ourselves, let you know, that we were present and that we were here, and that we work a lot with Commissioner Williams in the Edgewood community. So I just wanted to recognize and let everyone know that we're here for the meeting this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll recognize next R. Delaney.
Hello, my name is Delaney. I live in the Judd and Weiler building, and I just wanted to say that I'm here representing Free DC, which is an organization that is focused on protecting home rule for DC. They were essentially the ones pressuring the Senate to pass the amendment to ensure that DC had access to its budget that was already fiscally approved. They are now putting pressure on the House of Representatives to pass the same amendment. And so, folks who are interested in getting involved, freedcproject.org has some campaign orientation days that you can attend, a lot of which are virtual. And they also have Word 5 folks like me who are involved and are mobilizing in those efforts. So I just wanted to make that known for folks who are interested in joining up with other Word 5 members like me for freedcproject.org. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Seeing no other members of the public, we'll allow commissioners to respond if they wish. Commissioner Bishop Henchman, I see your hand raised. You're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to address Ms. Hudson asked she had two very good questions. I want to make sure they're answered, or maybe not, at least addressed. On the auto entry on Alethea Tanner Park, obviously a continuing problem. I'm certainly well aware of it. The whole commission's certainly well aware of it. We've passed at least one, I think multiple resolutions asking for hardened bollards at all of the spots that Ms. Hudson mentioned. And we're waiting on DDOT responses to those resolutions, which I think are now delinquent. They're supposed to respond to us in a certain period of time, and I don't think they have. We have succeeded in getting 5 of the planters at the S Street entrance moved into a spot where they block auto entry, but that 6th one, well, if you don't do all 6, you might as well not do any of them, I think. And so getting that 6th one in is important, fixing the spacing at Randolph, and then adding a hardened bollard at R Street. There's also 2 planters there that have been moved out of position, and moving those into position would be helpful also. In my travels, I've also encountered some bollards that can be installed that can be lowered for auto entry and raised back up when we don't want cars to enter, which is, I think, most of the time. So the technology exists. It's not very expensive either. So hopefully DDOT will be a good partner with us on that. And I'll connect with Ms. Hudson and anybody else who's interested to let them know how they can help pressure DDOT to respond to our requests on that. And then on Alethea Tanner Park, the business space, I've heard the same rumors. I think there is movement on having a cafe in that space in Alethea Tanner Park. And I've been told to be ready for a license to come our way on it. I haven't gotten that yet, but I think something is in progress on that.
Thank you.
I'll recognize myself here just to let Miss Isidore? Isidore, sorry. Know that the public safety and then I hear those concerns. I still get frustrated with even motorcycles and mopeds riding on the MBT as well. It happened to me last night as I was walking. There is currently an active draft resolution to address both moped vehicle movement and reckless driving and ATVs as well. I just reviewed that last night. Committee Chair Aaron Price, who's here as well, is working very hard and has done some heavy lifting research on some options for what we can do there. So I encourage you to touch base with him to see if you may have some important feedback and suggestions for that as well. So I'm currently sponsoring that, and I'm happy to take other commissioners as well for co-sponsoring that resolution. So I understand it's frustrating. We've gotten some progress though, truthfully, but yeah, there's more that still needs to be done in order to make the MBT and Olathe Tanner Park a safe place for everyone.
Thank you.
Mhm. And then I just want to recognize the Ward 5, Safer Ward 5 team for being here and for all your hard work. I know there has been, drops in crime, and I'm sure, your teams have been heavily involved with folks and been part of that. So appreciate all of your work that you do hard day in and day out with those folks who need the resources and help. So thanks for being here. Any other commissioners? All right, seeing none, we will move next to announcements from commissioners. I will just open the floor with any commissioners that have any specific items that was not noticed in the officer report. Yes, Commissioner Bishop Henchman, you're recognized.
Let's make this one quick. We just got I think it's the 30-day notice for the sidewalk installation on S Street between 4th and 5th. This is across from the Postal Service facility adjacent to the Metropolitan Branch Trail. I'll forward along details. We have a rendering of it and everything, but that's in progress.
Excellent, thank you. Recognize myself here. I have a few quick announcements. There's an Eckington Community Day that's being organized by both Councilmember Parker's office, who I know he's online. Thank you for joining us. He'll be up here shortly. At this Edgewood Community Day is in coordination with Ward 5 Cleanup Day, which is April 26th. In Edgewood specifically, it'll be 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and folks will be meeting up at the Edgewood Recreation Center to pick up supplies and help clean up. Submit 311 tickets. I've had a lot of great success with 311 tickets, whether it's replacing sidewalks or cleaning up areas, and really recommend folks use that. There was a follow-up with Commissioner Williams, who had asked about money for beautification, and that has to be approved in the budget and approved by the whole commission for those individuals. So I'll follow up with her separately. There's also an Edgewood hiring event that came up to the top of my, and I bring this up because I know there are a lot of people who have either lost a job recently and are looking for employment. So PMG is doing an event at the Catholic University of America on Tuesday, April 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Principal Center in Room B. And then there's also a career fair for the DC National Guard that's happening Saturday, April 26th from 10:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. I want folks to be aware that there are some opportunities for those who are struggling. That's all I have. I see your hand up, Commissioner Anderson. You're recognized.
Thank you. So it seems like there are a lot of community cleanups that have been that are being organized. I think everyone's in the spirit of spring cleaning, but I want to put another one on your radar. So the residents of Shalom House, which is located at 1876 4th Street, they are doing a community cleanup and are opening it up to members of the community to come and join. So that is Monday, April 21st at 11 a.m. So everyone is welcome to join. If you have any questions, the contact person is Talisha Taylor.
I think Eckington Parks and Arts is doing one on Friday.
Yes, yes, I'll make that announcement. There is a Eckington Parks and Arts is doing a cleanup this Friday? And I believe it's in partnership with a corporate organization. I believe Google has assisted in the past, and they provide a bunch of volunteers to help clean up the area and pick stuff. So appreciate partnership with Eckington Parks and Arts as well. All right, any other comments from commissioners? Seeing none, we'll move to announcement from representatives of elected officials. I do not see Anthony Black from the Mayor's Office of Community Relations, so we will move to you, Mr. or Councilmember Parker. If you are there and available, we will make you a presenter. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. I have to jump to another ANC meeting, so I will keep this as brief as possible. I wanted to join one to touch base with neighbors, but also this is council recess, so I empowered my team to take a break, and I'm standing in the gap so that my team can do that. They work around the clock, and I think that's important. Whoever owns the handle 5F ANC, I just sent the sign up for our cleanups on the 26th. I would ask if you could share with those on the call. Please join us as we are rolling up our sleeves and making sure we beautify our ward and our community. There is any number of events happening across the ward, and I hope you'll get involved. Two things I want to provide updates, and I'm happy to open it up for questions for the time that I have remaining. One is, as you know, there is an ongoing budget fight. The district is still awaiting the House to take action to pass the unanimously passed Senate budget fix. To date, we have yet to receive word that will happen. The House is currently on recess. They are expected back on the 28th. There is some inside politics that say that Speaker Johnson will bring this bill forward on the 28th, but we've heard that before. And as you also likely have heard, that the mayor is utilizing a mechanism that will allow her to raise revenue up to 6%, which will shrink that $1.1 billion budget hole down to about $400 million. And that's a very rough estimate. And then the mayor will roll out a proposal for how she will make up that $400 or so million gap this fiscal year. It is worth noting that we are still awaiting the mayor's budget. The mayor was due to submit her budget on April 2nd. It is now April 15th, and we don't have any guarantee when the budget will come. That's significant for a number of reasons. One, the previously scheduled budget hearings, that schedule is out the window as everything is in flux. Two, we are still waiting and trying to see if the House will take action, but the clock is ticking. Three, we know that the CFO's revenue estimates are scheduled for June 30th. That complicates our budget a great deal because if while we have the budget, revenue estimates drop, that then throws the budget in flux and we will have to incorporate those cuts. Lastly, I would say, while this isn't insurmountable issue, we also have council recess that is scheduled, and that there is legalities with that, which means that technically we are not allowed to have hearings and scheduled meetings, etc. And so all of this to say that for every day that it goes by, we run the risk of overcomplicating our budget matter even beyond where it is right now. I can assure Ward 5 neighbors I will continue to prioritize the things that we care about most, ensuring that our communities are clean and safe, ensuring that our young people have schools and support for their education, ensuring that the programs that are upholding our district, city, and our community are continuing to be invested in, including critical lifelines and supports like SNAP and TANF and other things like that. The mayor did announce today that part of her proposal will include potential furloughs, district freezing of funds. We do not have any definite plans, but I can assure you I will share that information when we have it. So the headline here is everyone is still waiting for the House to take action. The earliest they can do that is on the 28th when they come back from recess. There are some grumblings that Speaker Johnson has told people he plans to bring the budget fix forward, that he needed to get past the president's budget vote in the House because they needed the Freedom Caucus. And now that they passed that vote, that they can roll the Freedom Caucus and hopefully we can bring forward that vote. If that does not happen, we unfortunately will have to move forward with the budget cuts. So more to come on this, hopefully in the next few weeks, but the earliest we can at this point receive the mayor's budget is the 25th, because the CFO is mandating a 10-day review period. So every day the mayor holds off from submitting her budget, that 10-day clock does not start. So I will both share when the mayor submits her materials, but also when we have more information. And then the last thing I would say is, as chair of the Committee on Youth Affairs, which has oversight of DRS, CFSA, and the Office of the Attorney General, in addition to public safety, juvenile issues, but also juvenile delinquency is top of mind for me, especially as we charge towards the summer. And so I'll be sharing more information in the next 2 weeks about initiatives that we're hoping to ramp up with the agencies under my purview, namely with DRS. I am working in concert with the Deputy Mayor for Public Safety and Engagement, thinking about how do we provide more robust supports. I will say there are some that think our path forward is merely to incarcerate more youth. And while I fully support holding young people and all people accountable for the harm they cause, we know the research tells us that we need to do more on the front end so that our young people are not picking up guns, carjacking, and the rest. And that starts in classrooms, making sure that our young people are showing up to school, that they have more positive outlets. But I wanted to share that there is going to be a ramped up effort focused on juveniles across the district. And I look forward to my committee being part of that solution. So I'll stop there. Happy to answer questions. I have about 10 to 15 minutes before I have to jump to ANC 5E, but I'm thrilled to be with you all.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Parker. We'll first open this up to members of the public if they have any questions or comments they would like to bring to Councilmember Parker. And we'll start with Daniel Aaron Price, who's our committee chair on public safety and health. And go ahead, Mr. Aaron Price.
Councilmember Parker, thank you for joining us tonight. So as Commissioner Galvan said, my name is Daniel Aaron Price. I'm the chair of ANC 5F's Public Safety and Public Health Committee. Thank you so much for the comprehensive newsletters and Melissa Littlepage's work on all of that. They're really reflective and helpful for really getting a pulse on Ward 5 and the state of DC, so appreciate that. I wanted to talk a little bit about public safety real quick. So we held that community listening session, which Oliver and Connor Shaw were a part of as of a couple weeks ago. We had about 40 community members that came that were very concerned about gun violence in the community. And the resounding message that we received was the desire to have as much of a public health approach to gun safety and gun violence across not only Ward 5, but across DC. So when Sam came about a month or so ago, we passed a resolution through the commission on reducing gun violence across DC that utilized over 20 different sources of evidence, all based around public health and the evidence base. And I hope that Sam brought the resolution over to you because there are many recommendations for what potential legislation could look like. We even went one step further. So not only did we pass it with an ANC 5F, but we've been encouraging other ANCs, not only within Ward 5, but across the district to also pass this resolution. Thus far, it's been passed in ANC 5D. It's also being considered in ANC 5B and being taken up in ANC 5C. So I would love to chat with you, with Nefertaria as well, about the potential for inclusion of legislation around some of the solutions that are within our resolution. Just curious if you had a chance to take a look at it.
Yes, it is on my radar. And in fact, my team and I are planning to follow up on it. I believe I received it from Chairperson Galvan and he sent it over, and he does a good job of sending over resolutions that are voted on. I will say we are aligned that I think we must advance a public health approach to safety. And I know for some neighbors that may feel like fluff, or that may sound like we're not taking this seriously. But to me, what it's about is focusing on prevention and being upstream and addressing the problem versus merely being reactive. It is worth noting that Assistant Chief Altieri is transitioning. In fact, I will be joining his retirement ceremonies next week. We will endeavor at our next public safety call, and I do hope neighbors will join the Ward 5 public safety call, which is the last Wednesday of the month. We will hear from new Assistant Chief Cop as well as the new 5D Commander Rooney to think through and to hear about their strategies to address gun violence. But we know MPD is just one part of it. So all that to say, yes, we are acting on it, and we hope to take action on some of the proposals that's included in the resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Aaron Price. I see Chair Coughlin as well, Melissa Coughlin from the Alcohol Licensing Committee. You're recognized.
Hi, thank you. Good evening, Councilman Parker. I just have a quick question for you. So ABCA has been doing a great job cracking down on illegal cannabis dispensaries, and they've been doing a good job publicizing, arrests and things like that. But a lot of the times when people are supposedly arrested, they're not showing up in the court records. And obviously, arrest for cannabis is, kind of silly, but I'm specifically asking, we have a proprietor that was arrested for cocaine possession and intent to distribute as part of one of these crackdowns, who's also an applicant on a dispensary that is above board and legally applied for within ANC 5F. So do you have any insight into how these things are being handled and how we can take this a little more seriously? Because quite frankly, a lot of the constituents are kind of feeling like the shuttering and arrest and closure of all of these things is more lip service than being taken seriously. So just curious about your insights into that.
We have, as a council, empower APCA to handle enforcement alongside MPD. I will look into this matter of arrests not showing up for these cases. That was not on my radar, so thank you for flagging that. But enforcement is on my radar, and there's a need for us to continue to ramp up that enforcement. I continue to say I support legal cannabis efforts across the district. I don't support all of these new shops locating in Ward 5. And so I think we have a fair number of them. We don't need any more. I don't want any more. And so part of my work is leaning on APCA and others to think through, like, how are they approving the locations and the licenses for these? But also, we need to do a better job of actually following through on enforcement. So I think that is in the nascent stages, and we would expect it to ramp up in the coming months. I will follow up, and I'm happy to circle back with the ANC about why the arrests might not be showing up on their record.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Coughlin. Are there any other questions from members of the public or commissioners?
While we wait, I'll take this opportunity to just address a controversial topic, perhaps. There was word that the council voted to have secret meetings a few weeks ago, and I just wanted to address that. I know members of the public have very strong feelings about this, but I can assure you that the intention behind the vote was not for us to merely have secret meetings so we can do something nefarious behind the scenes. It truly is to provide the council and the mayor an opportunity to strategize to counter the very real threats to home rule in the district. We can't always say that out loud, and I will just leave it there. But there are very real threats that we're facing. And with the open meetings requirements, it's hard for us to be able to convene to address those matters. And there are a host of other issues. I do know that there was an amendment put forward, and what it would have done was carve out the allowance for certain types of meetings. I sided with the vote that we can't always preemptively consider or think of these unforeseen circumstances. If you would have asked me months ago, would we be in a place where we have to strategize over $1 billion budget deficit that resulted from language that has been in CRs for over nearly 30 years, I would have said no. And so the reality is we can't foresee all that is likely to come. I'll give you a very real scenario, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn. There are topics of what happens if individuals show up to the Wilson building. Who has authority? What happens if the council or the mayor calls on MPD and MPD is for some reason compromised? These are the conversations that we must have, we are having. And I just want to level set that the effort was not to have secret meetings so that we can get our secret projects through, but it was in an effort to protect home rule. There is a hearing on the 22nd for a permanent version of the bill. I strongly encourage neighbors to come out and share your thoughts and your concerns. There's also word that Senator Mike Lee is preparing to lean in on the district regarding this matter, which I think further supports our need to have these more private conversations. So I'll stop there, but I know that was a hot topic for a few days. And if neighbors have concerns or questions, I'm happy to follow up.
Thank you, Councilmember. Commissioner Sani.
One comment question around this. I think one challenge with these sorts of laws is how sticky they can be. And so for right now, while it may be, we're looking at this from the lens of protecting home rule and our right to self-determination, it can, under future configurations of the council, turn into something else. So I can understand some of the hesitancy there. I was wondering if this, I don't think we have precedence for this, but the notion of council, this being something they have to renew each year, like having a 2-year window on such a off the record meeting sort of policy, and if that could somehow like put a backstop on potential misuse of this. Because right now, like we have a certain amount of trust in the current configuration of council, but like who knows what that can look like as elections come, people retire, et cetera. So I think these are, like, as we've seen with other laws, they can kind of spiral and get perverted into something else. And
Yes.
not, I don't expect an answer now, but just something to think about.
No, I think that's a good idea, actually. I fully support guardrails. Also, my colleague Matt Fruman from Ward 3 proposed for us to keep a log of sorts every time we would go into private session. While we wouldn't necessarily spell out the reasons why we went in, at least the public would know how many times we've had a private session, and at a very high level, why we're going into private session. I think that's also fair. So I would support a time limited opportunity for us to enforce these private meetings and to have to renew it if necessary. I would also say I reintroduce legislation that would expand the district's requirements around FOIA. And I would encourage my colleagues to take that up. I think transparency in government is really important. And so while in some necessary ways we're constricting information on the front end, I think we could expand that information on the back end by expanding FOIA laws.
Thank you. Any other commissioners? I'll take a quick moment. I know you got to hop off in about 30 seconds. So there was a resolution for Emory House, which we had gone to back and forth. And truthfully, I have not heard back from the Department of Health regarding kind of their approach to that. The only actually group I got an official response from was the chief of police, so or Commander Altieri to be specific. And so I was wondering, I think you had mentioned you would try to see if you could follow up on that if you get an opportunity. Again, I know there's a lot going on, so this can't quite be the top priority with everything. But if you could take a look at that when you get a moment. And then the second one is the bottle bill. I'd love to see, I know it started up, but again, there's bigger fires at this particular moment.
Yes.
But when the momentum kind of comes back, if you could keep us in the loop, we'd love to kind of lean forward on that.
Yes, I did co-introduce that legislation. There is still some work that is needed to ensure that we protect our local breweries and small businesses in Ward 5. And quite frankly, the wholesalers who are also based in Ward 5 are not thrilled about it. And so there's conversations happening, but my hope is that it will move forward and that we can implement it in the years to come.
Great. Appreciate all your leadership and assistance on this, and thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. And congrats on the chairmanship. Last time I was here, it was Chairman Bishop Henchman. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Have a great night. Okay. All right. Moving on to presentations relating to agenda items, which there are none. We will move to the consent agenda. If any members of the commission wish to pull any of items A or B off the consent agenda for further discussion, please let me know, either A or B. Looking to see if any commissioners would like to do that. Commissioner Sani, yes, go ahead.
I would like to pull item B, the resolution for requesting applications for beautification grants off the consent agenda into the action agenda.
Okay. Great, we will do that. Any other commissioners? With that being noted, commission to approve item A on the consent agenda, which is the resolution urging maximum flexibility within the RA1 residential apartment zoning regulations. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sani. And we'll move to a roll call vote. Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Sani.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams is not present still. Commissioner Galvan, aye. Commissioner Anderson.
Aye.
Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Aye.
Commissioner Zenjon is not present. All right, in the eyes of the chair, we have 5-0-0. The resolution on the consent agenda has passed. And we'll send that over to you shortly, Commissioner Bishop Henchman. Moving on to the action agenda, there are 2 items noted on the action agenda. One is the resolution requesting applications for beautification grants, and the other item was the QFR. Correct.
Yes.
Yes. So we'll first start with the resolution requesting application for beautification grants. Commissioner Bishop Henchman, would you like to take it from there?
Yes, thank you. This item or this topic, I think, was raised by Commissioner Williams at the last meeting of the idea of doing grants specific for the beautification of the community. As Commissioner Sani, as treasurer, mentioned earlier in the meeting, we have a bank balance of $43,000 and change. So a real opportunity to do some good, maybe not, make $1 million projects, but at least small things that can improve the community. And there is some precedent of our predecessor commission 5E of providing some grants in Bloomingdale. I did look into kind of how they do that, and ANC 5E currently runs all of these beautification grants through the Bloomingdale Civic Association. The reason being that both district law and I think their bylaws, as well as our bylaws, require grants to go to organizations. So they can't just go straight to, if an individual wanted to buy some flowers, that certainly a great thing that maybe we want to encourage, but it does have to go through an organization if it's a grant of district funds, taxpayer funds, because we both need to have the OANC do a memo in advance of it and then approve it after, and then do the follow-up report afterwards. So, we have a number of civic organizations in our commission area, Eckington Civic Association, Eckington Parks and Arts, Edgewood Civic Association, and probably other groups that might be able to form in order to take advantage of the ability to do grant specific for beautification. I'd also note that the Bryant Street project included a project use development agreement, a PUD agreement, that requires the developer there to contribute funds towards beautification. And I'll have to double check this, but I believe it's $100,000 each to Eckington Civic and Edgewood Civic Association. So there's a real chance here for the ANC to supplement and kind of help maybe even be a leader on pooling a bunch of different fund resources to help beautify the neighborhood. As Commissioner Galvan mentioned earlier, grants need to be approved by the commission, so it can't just be we divvy up money to each commissioner and each commissioner decides what to do with it. It does need to be a commission decision, and thanks to leadership of Commissioner Anderson and others, we have a very well built out grant process that we've now executed on, I think, twice. So I think we're figuring out how to do it, and I think we're in a position to be able to kind of open up for more specific applications. So this resolution kind of walks through a lot of that, including links to things, and then it makes one very substantive change. In our current standard procedures, we cap grants. So only each organization can only receive $2,500 in any 12-month period. And kind of wearing my Eckington Civic Association hat, that's the Eckington Day grant. And I know Ms. Hudson was there earlier. She did a great job planning that. I hope she'll consider lending her volunteers expertise to help plan it again for this year. But that's a conversation for another day. So for in Bloomingdale and 5E, I think they end up running $7,500 through the Bloomingdale Civic Association for their beautification grants. Obviously, if they had a limit like the one we have, that wouldn't be possible. So what this resolution proposes to do is to suspend the $2,500 limit, not just for civic associations, but for any organization for beautification grants. Ultimately, that just changes the criteria. All grants would still need to come to the commission for approval. So just because we're suspending that limit doesn't mean that it'll ultimately be approved by the commission. It's about laying the criteria for applications that we want to receive. Let me pause there and open it up for questions or debate.
Yes, Commissioner Sani.
Yep, thank you for that summary, Commissioner Henchman. I'm largely in agreement here. I just wanted to get a feel for what do we consider beautification? Like this is I don't know if I'm reading too much into like what the definition of words are. If this is something we'll know when we see it. But I like, as we are carving out an exception for beautification efforts to remove or moderate a limit. I want to make sure that it just doesn't become like everything turns into an emergency resolution or everything turns into a beautification effort.
That's a very good question. I don't have a dictionary in front of me. I think somebody even wrote a poem once on trying to define beauty. My sense of it is, I mean, I'm not a very imaginative person, so I rely on kind of what other commissions have done for similar projects. And these are things like planters with flowers, little free libraries, painting crosswalks. But I wouldn't necessarily consider that a finite list. There's probably lots of other things that might be able to fall under it. Ultimately, I guess beautification, whether it's tonight or in the future when we consider applications, beautification is what 4 commissioners say it is.
So beautification would be in the eye of the beholder here.
She had a.
Yeah, well, we'll go through this process first.
I was just gonna say, to answer your question, what Mr. Bishop Henchman said was the painting of the crosswalks and stuff, but also murals, and the old fire call boxes. I know a lot of neighborhoods have done that as well, in addition to the planters and the other stuff.
Got it. Commissioner Bishop Henchman, can you hear that?
I did, thank you.
Did I interrupt you?
No, it's
Okay.
That's right. Are there any other comments or questions or suggestions, changes recommended?
I think just generally putting my cards on the table, my hesitation was around the fact that I agree that the money does our community no good sitting in our bank account, and that we should be getting this to improve our community as best and effectively as we can. I was concerned about these efforts kind of being like the boxing out other efforts that could be like we've done that are equally as substantive, but like do these novel things in our community. But since this isn't our grant process, I assume they're operating on the same cadence as our grant making. So I think then that affords us the opportunity to consider everything at once. So I don't think that's actually a well-founded concern of mine. Yeah, and to that point about beautification being what 4 commissioners say, I think that it is what it is. I'm open to seeing where this goes. And nice thing about our standard procedures is we can modify them as we're doing now if we see any issues with this process.
And if we want to be more finite with the list, I'm not opposed to that. it may require someone with more imagination to come up with the list, though, than me.
Yes, Commissioner Jones.
Just something to add to Commissioner Sani's point. I'm curious, like, I know, oh gosh, I'm going to forget it. Isidore, I know you mentioned like the crosswalk paintings or how some of the streets can be painted. I see that as beautification, but also as a functional use because it's a way of like
Safety.
daylighting and notifying cars that there's potentially people crossing. And I feel like there are pieces of this that could be beautifying our community, but also serving in a functional way to build safety. So I assume once we give the grants, they have ability to make the decisions in terms of like what is beautification, but I am curious if there's a way that we can provide any additional detail on our thoughts about daylighting or if we want to.
I think ultimately it goes to what Commissioner Cashman said. It's like whatever we, as a commission, say is falls under the beautification bucket.
Commissioner Benjamin, so just so I'm clear here, so we obviously have the 10,000 per quarter limit in grants, right? And so for beautification, we're saying 2,500 is limit is suspended, meaning that, you know, an organization could come to the ANC Commission in a quarter, and if there are no other grants, we could award them up to $10,000. Is that a fair understanding? If that's what they requested, we all agree to it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. The main thing I'm envisioning, just so like I have my cards on the table, what I'm envisioning here is I imagine Eckington Civic and maybe Edgewood Civic and maybe Eckington Parts will be the umbrella organizations for a lot of these grant requests. And if we have a $2,500 limit, that's going to make it very hard to make happen. So, I mean, that's what I'm going for with this resolution. I mean, even if we just did what 5E does, that would be $7,500 that they all fund through Bloomingdale Civic.
Yeah. I'll mention something real quick, and I agree that $2,500 from a beautification standpoint, I know it's a very broad determination, is probably not going to buy you much these days, I feel like. So the more, I think providing flexibility, and to your point, there isn't much use right now of these funds, and they are just sitting there, and it would be great to see them used in the community. So that's my cards. Go ahead.
And I know it has to go through OANC still, so that's going to be part of this, but I don't know if this is something we can bake into the beautification criteria, like it falls in beautification budget. I also want these to be immediately put to use, just like we say, like with discrete events, like within 60 days or 30 days of the event for reporting out. Like, I don't know if we should be saying, okay, well, here is $10,000 to restock your paint for the year. I think I'd like to see these kind of tied to discrete efforts, and maybe that turns into the commission itself deciding that this is how this is the criteria we will apply as we vote to approve or not approve something. But I was wondering if maybe it would make sense for us to include some sort of clause in, if it falls in the beautification budget, this is like part of the criteria for beautification efforts is it has to be like spent within the quarter or something like that.
Gotcha.
I was gonna.
I'm going to just recognize Isadora for a moment.
So I like got permission through ECA, but I paid for the corner of R and Third to be painted. But then it was like torn up with the lead stuff a bit. But that cost $1,000 in like paint and like prep. And it was all volunteer done, I think. And they had extra paint that they did the same thing in front of the entrance to the MBT on S. So I think if you budget like maybe if like generously like $1,500 per intersection, you could probably do a lot of intersections.
Thank you. All right. With that all being said, do we have an action?
I move to adopt the resolution as originally drafted by Commissioner Cashman.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Jones. We will go to a roll call vote, starting with Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Sani,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams, still not present. Okay. Commissioner Galvan, I vote aye. Commissioner Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Bishop Henchman,
Aye.
and Commissioner Zenjon is not present. So thank you all very much. It passes 5-0 to 2, or 5-0, and this resolution is adopted by 5F. Thank you for your work, Commissioner Bishop Henchman. We'll move on to the quarter 2 2025 quarter 2 QFR. Commissioner Sani.
Yes, unfortunately, I late circulated this to the commission. I was traveling out of the country, and access to banks and such is probably not something I should be doing in those contexts. But I did, as I mentioned at the top of this commission meeting, we are catching up to our reporting requirements for this year due to Industrial Bank locking us out of our account due to data issue on their side. No wrongdoing of the commission or the prior treasurer. It's entirely on the bank that we're trying to move off. As part of this, we are now ready to do our Q2 QFR. Q2 is covers the period from Jan 1 till the end of March. And so I submitted this to the commission, I believe it was on Sunday. And so it is virtually identical to last quarter's, but with the addition of the grant that we approved last month to Friends of Metacom Grant Trail. So it is posted on the website, I believe, with the agenda, but it reflects a disbursement of $1,275 in the form of a grant, resulting in an ending balance on our checking account of $37,115.97. Thanks to everyone for allowing us to add it to the agenda, and I guess open for questions or comments on the QFR.
Nope. Any commissioners have any questions?
I move to adopt the Q2 QFR as presented.
All right, I will second that. And we'll go to a roll call vote. Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Sani.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams, not present. Commissioner Galvan, aye. Commissioner Anderson.
Aye.
Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Aye.
Commissioner Zenjon is not present. All right, as chair, that resolution, the QFR has been approved by the commission 5-0 to 0. Thank you very much, Commissioner Sani, for your work on that. Moving on, I think there's a lot of folks on for this particular discussion. We'll move on to other reports and presentations. We have a presentation by the District Department of Transportation on the Lincoln Road Bikeway. Valentine Facuse is here with some other DDOT representatives. We will drop the link to the presentation in the chat here shortly for folks to be able to follow along. I don't know if we've done that yet. We haven't done that, have we? It's on me. There we go. All right, I have. Did I make it through? All right, so folks can follow along with that. If you're in person, there is some copies. Actually, can you show some copies? Please. Thank you so much. And so I will allow them. You might want to come close because of the microphone. So if you want to sit on the side, that's totally fine. And if you can introduce yourself and who's here on behalf of DDOT, that would be appreciated. Thank you so much for coming today.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members of the commission and the public for having us tonight. So I'll first share my screen really quickly, if that's okay.
Let me make you a co-host first. All right, you should screen share.
We see it. Not full
Everyone-
screen yet, but we see it.
Is it full screen now?
Now it's full
Yes,
screen.
okay,
Yes,
great.
Thank you.
Great, great. So thank you again, Mr. Chair, members of the commission and members of the public for having us. My name is Valentina Pacus. I'm a transportation planner for the District Department of Transportation, and I work on trails and bike lane projects. I am joined here by my colleagues, Tyler Williams, our community engagement manager, and Mike Goodnow, our bicycle program specialist. So for tonight's meeting, we will be presenting on our proposed protected bike lane project that goes along Lincoln Road northeast between 4th Street and North Capitol Street northeast. I would like to quickly emphasize and let everyone know that this is an opportunity for everyone to provide input, specifically seeking input for the existing conditions of the corridor and also the conceptual design for the project, as the outcome of this project is dependent on your input. Also, for the folks that are joined here in person, I will just be saying to change the, the slide so that you can follow along. So really quickly, I'll be outlining some of the content that we'll be going through tonight. So first, I'll be providing some background context on why we are doing this for tonight. Then going into details on why we have selected this particular corridor. Then going through the proposed conditions for the designs that we are proposing, and then moving on to next steps, and then opening the floor to any comments or any questions from the public and the commissioners. And really quickly, again, this is along Lincoln Road from 4th Street to North Capitol Street northeast, and the limits are approximately 1.2 miles long. So before jumping into the details for the project, first, it's important to understand the context and background of how we got here in the first place. So DC, as you all may have seen, is growing, and it's continuing to grow. We've seen that over 500,000 more residents since 2010. 100,000, excuse me, more residents since 2010, and we are expecting 250,000 more by 2020 and 45. So as you all, I am showing a graphic on the right hand of the screen. I am on the third slide for those who are joined in person. And that is showing an example of a roadway where it only accommodates vehicles. And as you can see, that roadway is pretty congested. And then on the lower side of that graphic, it's showing a roadway which provides alternative modes of transportation, and it's not showing the roadway being congested. So really that design strategy, what we call it as planners across the United States, is called complete streets, which is design that looks to accommodate multiple modes of transportation so that people of all ages and abilities can have access to our roads. And so again, going back to the point that DC is growing, our population is increasing, so that is creating more demand on our roads. And with more demand on our roads, because of the existing conditions of the roadway, with not the complete streets designs, fatalities are on the rise, and same with serious injuries. So with this increase in demand and rise in fatalities and serious injuries, we've had to approach things differently, and not just here at DDOT, but also at the nationwide level. So DDOT first adopted the Vision Zero back in 2014. So if for folks who are not familiar with Vision Zero, in short, it is a goal to completely eliminate all fatalities and serious injuries that are related to traffic, that are traffic related. And DDOT also within this Vision Zero is included the safe system approach, which outlines the strategies that we will be using to reach our goal of zero. And that was adopted back in 2022, so pretty recently. And again, this is in line with nationwide best practices. We are following the United States Department of Transportation as they have adopted Vision Zero and Complete Streets and are encouraging agencies all across the United States to follow these best practices. And just really quickly on the right side of the screen, I'm showing a graphic of how the traditional approach differs to the safe system approach. I won't go into detail for all of them, but essentially we are, just to go for the second point there, the traditional approach looks to improve human behavior, and for the safe system approach, we are designing for human mistake and error. So we all know that humans, we make mistakes. We've made mistakes in the past. We are currently making mistakes, and we will continue to make mistakes in the future. So it's more so about how we can anticipate those mistakes, and it won't result in someone being seriously injured or killed on our roads. And so going back to national best practices, research has shown, as it relates to this project, since we are proposing a protected bike facility, research has shown that installing a protected bike lane can provide approximately 34% reduction in risk of injury. And on the highest risk roads, cycling risk or injury is also reduced by over 60%. Next slide. And just really quickly, because we only have 10 minutes, if you are not familiar with the field of vision or cone of vision, if you are a driver that is driving at approximately 15 miles per hour, your cone of vision increases as speed is lower. So as you can see there on the right, on the left side of the screen, the driver can see almost the entirety of the roadway. They can see the pedestrians, they can see the trees, the buildings, almost the entirety of the roadway. Versus at 30 to 40 miles per hour, they can't even see the pedestrians, they can barely see the buildings, so on and so forth. So as speed increases, your field of vision decreases. Next page. So as far as the DC-wide and also DDOT's mission and commitment to safety, health, and sustainability, as mentioned, safety, we are aiming at 0 fatalities and serious injuries. For mobility, we aim at 75% of all commute trips by walk, bike, transit by the year of 2032. On the right side of the screen, I'm showing a graphic of what our current statistics look like as of 2023. So as shown on the graphic there, we still have long ways to go to reach our goals. And of course, equity, ensuring a just and distribution of transportation investments for communities. Next slide. So why Lincoln Road? Why this corridor in particular? So this corridor was identified on Move DC's bicycle priority network. If you're not familiar with Move DC, it is the multimodal long-range transportation plan for DDOT for DC that looks at our vision for transportation for the next 25 years. Lincoln, we also chose this project because it will be connecting to the existing 4th Street Northeast protected bike lanes and the future multimodal improvements that we will be doing on North Capitol Street. And also safety concerns. We have received numerous safety concerns along this corridor, specifically traffic safety inputs regarding speeding along the corridor, approximately 47 from the years of 2022 to present. And also bicycle level of traffic stress. If anyone might not be familiar, it is essentially the stress levels that bicyclists endures when they are on the road. So a bicycle level of traffic stress of 1 and 2 would be the lowest stress levels, and 3 to 4 would be the highest stress levels. And the 1 and 2 would be most comfortable for our most vulnerable users, so children and aging users, whereas 3 and 4 you probably see more confident riders and the strong and fearless that have more experience bicycling and feel most comfortable riding where there is no protected bicycle facility. And this current corridor does lack connectivity for most vulnerable users, which are bicyclists in this sense. So this is just next page. So this is showing a graphic of where Lincoln Road is in our Move DC Bicycle Priority Network. So onto existing conditions, the posted speed limit is currently at 25 miles per hour. However, as mentioned, we have seen a numerous amount of speeding, as we do have a speeding camera on there, so we have seen that data. And we have also received approximately 47 traffic safety inputs regarding safety on this corridor. I would also like to note that there are approximately 6 schools along this corridor, so that is posing a dangerous condition for children and anyone that is attending those schools. And we have also seen approximately 45 crashes between the last 5 years. So going into what we are proposing along this corridor, so we have 2 concepts. This is concept number 1. We are proposing to remove the northbound outside travel lane, which is at approximately 12 feet wide. And there is currently existing parking, which we will be repurposing to install a 2-way protected bicycle facility. And for this concept, it would be on the east side. And in turn, this will lower the bicycle level of traffic stress. And for the second concept, next page, it's the same thing with the only difference that instead of having the protected bicycle facility on the east side, this one is looking at it on the west side. So timeline and next steps for this project. So we are all here today presenting to 5F. The next presentation will be also to 5F, but to the Transportation and Safety Committee on May 5th. We will also be hosting an open house in June. So please, if you can encourage others to join as well, we would highly encourage you to do so. And please stay up to date on the latest project news on our website at bikelanes.dot.dc.gov, or you can also scan the QR code that's shown on the screen. We are also currently at the needs assessment and concept planning, and we'll be moving on to design hopefully by fall of this year, and looking for construction for next year. So with that, I will open the floor to any questions or comments that the commissioners or members of the public may have. And thank you for your time and attention.
Great, thank you so much. We'll actually start with commissioners and then we'll go to members of the public. Commissioner Sani, go ahead.
So first off, thank you for the presentation. As chair of the Transportation Committee, I want to encourage everyone. You're going to have multiple times to offer feedback. Obviously, this meeting is one of them, but in the Transportation Public Spaces Committee, there will be opportunity to have a larger, more in-depth discussion. That is May 5th, which is a Monday at 7:30 p.m. It will be online via Zoom. The link to the meeting and all the information will be published to ANC 5F's committees page. If you scroll down, there'll be the TAPS committee. So I encourage people to participate there as well, because it lends itself to more of a discussion atmosphere than a meeting with formal feedback slots. So I guess kind of pulling back out. So with the Well, like, I think this is great. Like, I think I've personally felt in danger just walking alongside Lincoln. And this meeting is definitely a challenge there. On the front of like, so like on these designs, I do see a bit of a gap between the bike lane or the bike facility and the traffic lanes. Do we envision that being a bollard, or is it kind of a detached sort of multi-use path? Like, what is or is it even too early for you to say what that might look like?
Yeah, at this time, we are not exactly sure on what kind of buffer we are looking for the on-road bicycle facility. But that's something that we would be looking into the next step from there. Because right now we're just looking at conceptual.
And this is a good opportunity to share preferences. It is a 2-foot buffer area.
Yeah.
So if you're more inclined for flex posts or the concrete, we call them pills, they're like short segments. This is a good time to weigh in.
Yeah, so I will say, as the commissioner who received the 8th Street Northeast MBT gap closure, the pills are great. Like, they do a good job kind of stopping people from entering the cycle track. As we've seen with 4th Street Northeast, they don't have the pills, they have the slightly narrower things, and those will get knocked out by snowplows and stuff. And there's an unaddressed DDOT resolution I have to follow up on to get some restored after there was some roadway paving. So all that to say, like, anything that, like, especially with the speeds you've mentioned, especially with cars coming off North Capitol, the more physical concrete protection, the better. I do look at what we have on First Street, like if you go down past Wonder Garden off the MBT, and I'm envious of that, but I understand those are stormwater studies that have to come into play when you have that much concrete. But anything, like if we can get a larger continuous block, I think that would be almost preferable. I also understand that curb cuts may play a role in deciding which side we go on, like from the proposed concepts with concept 1 or concept 2. Is there a significant difference? Because I know like concept 1 concept 2 is on the west side, which means it has a longer stretch of like alongside the cemetery coming in off like V Street to 4th. Just curious to see if there are any like analysis on that.
Yeah, so if you look at for the east side, bicyclists will have a more direct access to the side streets that are there versus the west side, or where you have the side of the retaining wall where the cemetery is. Also, there's also the concern that there is a curve to where that cemetery is, so it could be a potential blind spot for bicyclists. But at this time, we do not have a preferred alternative or concept. So that is why we're seeking input and feedback from everyone to see what the preferred concept would be.
Great. Any other commissioners?
Oh, sorry.
Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, I am really excited about this. I think this is great. I did want to mention, I think I really like the slide where you showed like the congested roadway to changing it to the multimodal street. I think when you make the decision to protect bikers, you also protect people who are walking and getting around in ways other than walking or biking. So I'm really excited about this. I did want to ask, in terms of like feedback, are you looking for like design feedback, like additional sections, or I guess just curious in that way, because I imagine people will give a lot of feedback in terms of like adding or removing sections. But are you open, like what type of feedback?
So I can give some examples. At this stage of a project, the type of feedback that we're looking for is like, are there things about the existing conditions of the corridor that we've missed? Is there heavy, or is the community experiencing heavy truck traffic from like commercial vehicles? Like what other types of things should we be considering that we may have missed? And also like, is the community at this early stage leaning more towards one of the concepts versus the other? As she mentioned, we don't have a preferred concept at this time. And this is a really good time to weigh in on which the community thinks would be better.
Got it. That's really helpful. Thank you. I have no additional feedback, just really excited about this. And in terms of thinking about just being more connected, I know it's really hard to get from some places in Northeast to Northwest. And I think this will be a piece of that connecting. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other commissioners? If not, I'll mention some. Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
I just wanted to echo Commissioner Jones, thanking you for presenting tonight, and very exciting about this effort to improve safety and mobility. And certainly hope anybody that has thoughts pro or con, in addition to raising them here. I'm glad you laid out the kind of the two upcoming opportunities for public comment, and hopefully any concerns will be raised at one or both of those meetings so that we can make an informed decision about this. Thank you.
I do also want to plug that on our project site, there is a calendar. So the QR code that's at the end, if you want to toggle to it, the QR code that's at the end will link directly to that project site. And once we have the details finalized for the June open house, the details will be there. We will also send an email out to all stakeholders ahead of that meeting.
I actually do have one more question, or just like maybe a preference. I do like the idea of a real barrier, like the pills I think you mentioned. But also I think I've noticed the difference between like when you're on a bike lane and it's the same color as the street, even with the lines, people don't pay attention. And I think just having it like that bright green color actually does make a difference. Just that little bit of feedback there. I'm sure there's other design choices, but that's the first one that comes to mind.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll mention, really happy to have you come forward and present here today. So thanks for coming. I'm an avid cyclist. I cycle to work every day myself. And I'm one of those probably fearless ones. But I do think there certainly is the elephant in the room. There is a lot of parking on the sides. So I'm interested to hear what the community says. I agree with the general, complete streets that, we got to make some capacity somewhere because the reality is, more and more people are getting on bike and micromobility to get around, and it does slow down traffic and move things a little differently. I would prefer kind of the concept on the east side, which is just easier access to homes and schools and whatnot that are all along, whether it's Harry Thomas Recreation Center, which is also planned for an updated renovation coming up soon. So maybe some coordination with DPR and DGS as well. I think, the pills are a great idea, some physical barrier, and even something that can be even taller and visible to really notify drivers of the change. It would be interesting to know that to limit, the impact of parking in some areas, if DDOT has considered one-way traffic in some portions of that. So I'd be curious. Obviously, I know, DDOT has studies on where things, traffic flow and where that goes and what that impact is. But that could potentially be a compromise solution in some areas. Again, a lot of community engagement will be needed for that. I think it would be great if DDOT could do a survey a survey link of some sort to discuss, because this is a fairly long section of the community. I know a decent amount of it falls in my SMD, but and at least 3 or 4 commissioners. But it's great to see this expand and just to see the 8th Street bikeway that has been completed and how much people use it and how it really kind of changed the walkability of that area. So I'm excited to see that opportunity, but I'm I would love to hear from the community on what the impacts are from them. So that is my 2 cents from folks. I would like to open it up to the public. I know we're going a little long here. Commissioners, if you'll indulge me on a little more time for this particular subject, or any objections? Okay, we'll start. I'll start with the first person I saw, which was, I believe, Ms. Coughlin, if you are still interested in speaking about this, and then Moira. Moira?
This is Melissa Coughlin. Just in the interest of time, I'll do mine at the May 5th public forum.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Ms. Coughlin. Moira, did you want to mention something? I saw your hand up was for a while. Yeah, all right. We'll go to the next person. I saw, yes, go ahead. And can you identify yourself and where you live?
My name is Ilya Yablashik. I live at 1501 Harry Thomas.
Great, thank you.
So, as a frequent user of the 4th Street bike lane, I find it really frustrating to have to switch to the other side of the road at that intersection with Lincoln. And so I think keeping the bike lane on the same side as the 4th Street bike lane, that is the west side, would make it connect much better. And also, I think keeping it on the side away from the buildings will prevent people parking on the bike lane and blocking it. So that's my feedback.
Great, thank you. Mr. Aaron Price, then I'll go to you, Doug.
Absolutely. This is exciting. Love more bike lanes, like totally like bring it to my backyard. I love that. In terms of the concepts, I understand the difference between the two. The slides are the exact same in terms of like what you put on there. So I don't know if that's intentional or it is.
It's really the only difference is just that one is going on the west side, and like one concept is for the west and the other one for the east side. So.
Understood. Just wanted to check. It's my late brain. But the other thing I wanted to bring up too is it's passing right by Emory Low Barrier Shelter and Harry Thomas, like it was mentioned. And that spot in particular has been pretty notorious for mopeds and moped parking in particular. We have a lot of activity around mopeds being utilized on that road, as well as mopeds being parked on that road too. So if there's any way to incorporate signage around like no moped usage, although I know that's within like DC code and DC law, I think it's pretty vital that we get that word out. We're just gonna see an increase in mopeds over time anyway. So it's better to be proactive than reactive for that.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Knight, I see you on there. You're recognized here shortly.
Can you hear me now? Sorry, I got muted again.
There we go.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, this is Doug Knight. I live on Lincoln Road. I'm a bicycling commuter as well. I would echo a lot of what Mark said. I'm a pretty fearless cyclist, but that's the 1/2 mile of the city that I won't bike on the street because of that uphill section around the blind curve. So very supportive of this. I do think, just looking at the plans, I think the east side, just as far as like access to community places, as far like the rec centers and the schools are pretty much all on the east side of the road. So I think it'd be really awkward if the bike lane was on the other side of the road when there's no sidewalk over there. For people to like try to get across the street to Inspired Teaching might be pretty difficult. So I think that the east side would probably be great. And also definitely echo that concrete barriers and permanent barriers are really important because like you mentioned on 4th Street, drivers don't always recognize that there's a bike lane there, and it's not super helpful. So super excited, really happy that this is moving forward, and we're happy to contribute further at the transportation meeting as well.
Maura, we saw that you had some challenges. We're trying again here. Can you unmute now?
Oh yeah, I got you now. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so I am just so excited about this proposal, the idea of a bike lane on Lincoln. I've been biking my kids up to Inspired Teaching Demonstration School for 11 years, from our street up to 2nd where ITDS is, and we have always, they were first on the back of my bike, now they bike themselves, but we've always had to use the sidewalk because it's just not safe. And there are more and more kids going to school south to Muna Verde, to Langley, and we're trying to get north to ITDS. So it's gotten a little congested. So I'm just super excited that we are thinking about a bike lane that will allow easier access to all these schools. Inspired Teaching has a number of bike racks that are often full in the springtime. And I have no doubt that this kind of bike lane will encourage even more cyclists to come to the school. So I just want to tell everybody I'm super excited, and I'm here for any of all of the discussion pro Lincoln Road bike lane.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Mr. Knight, for your comments as well. We have a couple others here. Caroline O'Shea.
Yeah, oh, 3 up. Hey, yeah, I just wanted to know, you were talking about specific road conditions to keep in mind. I think I'm understanding that this would cross Rhode Island Avenue, and I just wanted to note that as a pedestrian, that is at a particularly heinous intersection in terms of street crossing, people coming around those corners fast. And so I think that's a great opportunity for some traffic calming, to incorporate some traffic calming that also will support pedestrians at that Lincoln Road and Rhode Island when you're thinking about the infrastructure at those corners there. So yeah, but very excited about this. Thanks.
Thank you, Caroline. Yes, go ahead.
We will also be
Down here.
looking into some safety improvements along the corridor as well. We don't have the details for that yet, but
Excellent. Thank you. Any other comments from members of the public? And any final words from commissioners?
Just want to reemphasize, May 5th meeting is at 7:30 p.m. It'll be on Zoom. The link to that will be on the ANC5F committees page. So ANC5F.com, hit committees in the navigation bar, scroll down to taps, you'll see it there. And we look forward to seeing community members at that meeting.
Great. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, moving on in the agenda, we will go to ERCPCP, a Safer Ward 5 presentation by William Shelton. This was Commissioner Williams had requested this, but I'm not sure. I didn't see a presentation in particular, so I wasn't sure if you were here just for questions or if you had a specific presentation that you wanted to share. Mr. Shelton, if you're still on the line.
Looks like
He's not.
About.
I think they introduced themselves earlier in public comment. That may be what they wanted to do.
That may be it. Okay. All right. We'll move right along to the River Smart Homes program. Sky Webster. Let's see if Sky is on the line. Maybe under a different name. Please message me now. Not seeing them. Maybe we'll defer that to another time period. We'll move right along into committee and task force updates. The Alcohol and Cannabis Licensing Committee, Ms. Coughlin, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So we have previously had a quiet renewal season, but a whole bunch of them came across our desk in the last couple of days. And so we've got Busboys and Poets in Commissioner Jones' district, which is up for renewal with petitions due by the 27th of May. This just came out 3 days ago, and as far as I can see, there's no settlement agreement, which is fine. Commissioner Sani, Dance Place, we have a settlement agreement in place with them. Commissioner Williams, Cheddle, and Alamo, neither one of them have settlement agreements. And then Commissioner Bishop Henchman, the Crucible, which also so far doesn't have a settlement agreement. Most of these are due on the 27th of May, with the exception of Cheddle, which is due the 21st of April. I can work with the commissioners where we don't have settlement agreements to see if we want to do them. We will also, as we typically do, send the community feedback form out to, and I'm putting it in the chat right now, to whoever's on the ANC 5F handle. So this is for anybody who has positive or negative things to say about anything being renewed to chime in so that the committee can consider those when they make a recommendation to the ANC. So that's alcohol. And then cannabis, we have a new application in Commissioner Zenjan's district So it's not placarded yet. I anticipate it to drop on Friday, but 2 Florida Avenue, which is the old Supreme Barbecue and Auntie Boba place, is slated to become the Doobie Depot. And it's been painted a lovely shade of lime green for that. So like I said, that should be placarded on Friday, and we'll also communicate that to the committee. I'm sure there might be some discussions around that. And we do have a settlement agreement template that we use for Family Tree that we're happy to put forward if we want to enter into something with that. And then Cloud 9, which is at 1703 North Capitol Street, that was one of the 3 formerly illegal cannabis dispensaries we had operating in ANC 5F. They did go and apply during the open period to become legal. They are now legal. They are now open and complying with ABCA rules and regulations. As I mentioned a couple seconds ago, we're always seeking community feedback on any alcohol and cannabis establishment in ANC 5F. This is always open. It is not in lieu of a formal protest to ABCA or formal complaint to ABCA. We also have monthly online meetings on the first Wednesday of the month. The commissioners, we typically get these links, we post them online. But if you are a commissioner, we're really relying on you to disseminate this information to your constituents, especially some of those older people who might not be as tech savvy or not be able to get online. We're also looking for more committee members to make sure that we have diverse community representation on our committee. And then just some other ongoing business we mentioned last month. We're still many months deep now into a protest with Edgewood International Wine and Spirits. We had a protest hearing scheduled for the 2nd of April. That was moved by ABCA to the 30th of April. I think the ANC is still hoping to reach a settlement agreement on that. The disagreement right now is over 1 hour of operation during the week. So we'll continue to reach out to the applicant. As of recently, they don't seem interested in engaging additionally. And so they're happy to let ABCA decide their hours of operation, apparently. Just a few other ABCA deadlines. On March 2nd, the new medical cannabis patient registration was extended for 2-year periods instead of 1. And then like I said, the deadline for unlicensed establishments to become legal was the 31st of March. And ABCA started enforcing closures on these on the 1st of April. And ABCA will be closed on the 16th of April, tomorrow, for Emancipation Day. And that's all that we have for the Alcohol and Cannabis Licensing Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Coughlin. One note that came in hot off the press at 6:45 this morning was this is actually in 5E, but it is a alcohol license at 101 Rhode Island Avenue for a company called 1107. So that's in Bloomingdale, but we just want to give you a heads up. I'll forward that on to the alcohol licensing Google group. All right, we'll move on to Public Safety and Health Committee updates from Mr. Aaron Price.
Thank you, Commissioner Galvin. Good evening, commissioners. Good evening, neighbors. So once again, my name is Daniel Aaron Price. I'm the chair of ANC 5F's Public Safety and Health Committee. A lot going on for public safety and public health. So as of April 2nd, and a few that were joining the call earlier heard me speak to Councilmember Parker about, April 2nd, we hosted a listening session at Harry Thomas. That was specifically regarding a lot of concerns that neighbors had with some of the gun violence that occurred in that area, and some shootings and just a lot of issues regarding public safety in that area. So we pulled together a community listening session. Thank you to Commissioner Zenjon for being the host and steward of that. Through that listening session, we had about 40+ community members that showed up, even though it was raining and cold. We had over a dozen different representatives of organizations across DC government, through the mayor's office, Councilmember Parker's office, MPD, you name it, a lot of orgs were there. And
And we heard from the community regarding all things public safety, regarding solutions that people were thinking regarding public safety, as well as major concerns that they had. And as I mentioned before, the resounding desire within the community from those that were present stated a desire for public health approaches to be utilized in regard to public safety, which was pretty exciting considering that's our major approach within our committee. A bigger thing too that is going to be coming out of that is we were speaking a bit to the Langley PTO president about cleaning around the schools in particular and leveraging DPR. So hopefully going to be putting out some sort of resolution language regarding having DPR do some more thorough cleanings in that area for the youth and for those that utilize the garden area there too. In terms of our community engagement strategy, we're still reaching out to event organizers and we're reactivating block captains, providing them with more of those flyers so they can reach out to neighbors to let them know about who we are as ANC 5F and some of the good public safety and public health resources we have available. As I mentioned before, the gun violence reduction resolution that we're trying to get passed by other commissions have thus far been passed by 3 ANCs, including our own. So that's ANC 5D, 5F, and 6B. The gun violence reduction resolution is going to be championed in ANC 5B. Thank you to Commissioner Jones for getting me in touch with Commissioner Martinez Lopez, who's going to be championing that through their ANC. And then also I had a wonderful conversation with one of the commissioners from ANC 1B about that to get them to champion it there. I'm once again asking commissioners, I'm looking at ANC's 5A, 5C, and 5E. If you have contacts with any of those 3 commissions, please e-connect me. I would really love to chat with them. Can you repeat that? Sure, ANC 5A, 5C, and 5E. And then a couple other updates. We are currently finalizing the moped and ATV regulation resolution. So that should be up for a vote in May. That will be wrapping up hopefully for a vote at the committee meeting this upcoming Thursday. So our next public safety, public health committee meeting is this Thursday. That will be 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. At the Judd and Wheeler Eckington Community Room. And we always offer a hybrid option as well. You can find the link to the Zoom online. And the last thing to mention too is that we are gearing up for that bottle bill testimony. We've heard a lot of different flyers being passed out in opposition and in support. So it's going to be an interesting conversation. So tune in. And as I always do, I'll leave everybody with a tip. Thank you to Commissioner Galvan for this one. So DC Justice Lab is a phenomenal organization that does a lot of work around re-envisioning what public safety looks like, especially through public health approaches and community-centric approaches. They're hosting their 3rd community safety fair at MLK Library on April 26th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's going to be set up almost like a science fair in a way, where they'll have a bunch of community members that have done a lot of research around public safety to re-envision what that type of infrastructure could look like across DC. So highly recommend tuning into that. I will not be able to go because I'll be traveling, unfortunately. I'm always traveling when it comes to these incredible events, but hopefully I'll make it in the future. But thank you all. A lot of work.
Thank you so much, Chair Aaron Price. We will move on to next section, if I can. To Transportation and Public Spaces Committee, Commissioner Sonning. Chair Sonning.
Yeah, so we did not have a meeting in April. We ended up canceling it because we had nothing on our agenda. There wasn't going to be quorum for the meeting, so we just decided to scrap it. As mentioned a few times in this meeting, our upcoming meeting on May 5th will be largely focusing on the Lincoln Road proposal that DDOT shared with us just a few minutes ago. I don't anticipate any resolution drafting or anything like that, just providing a forum for folks to really kind of dig in, ask questions for DDOT to engage and get a feel for what the community is concerned with or what they'd like to see in a design that gets proposed. Yeah, so that, once again, that is 7:30 p.m. on Monday, May 5th. Link to the Zoom will be on the ANC 5F committee's page under taps. I think at least a week before the meeting.
Great, thank you very much. Zoning and Development Committee, Mr. Stone.
I don't think he's here, but we had no business, so we didn't meet this month.
Got it, thank you. And then we have for the library task force, Mr. Garrett.
He wasn't sure he would be able to make it, so he sent me a readout that I can.
Great, go ahead.
So the update for the library task force is as follows. At our January meeting, the ANC 5F Library Task Force received a presentation from DC Public Library representatives Martha Sakosio and Jaspreet Pawa, sharing findings from their community engagement efforts and preliminary site analysis for a new library in the Edgewood-Eckington area. The full report is available on the DCPL website. DCPL has narrowed its focus to 2 potential sites near the Rhode Island Avenue Brentwood Metro Station. 600 Rhode Island Avenue Northeast, which is part of MRP's Bryant Street redevelopment, as well as 605 Rhode Island Avenue, which is a part of a mixed-use project, including the Engine 12 Firehouse redevelopment. Both sites ranked as top choices among stakeholders, including NC 5F and 5E, civic groups, and survey respondents, due to their central location, metro and metropolitan branch trail access, and potential for integration into new developments. The selected site is expected to serve much of Edgewood and Eckington, helping close the gap between existing library branches. At their March 11th meeting, Nick Cimitelli of Ward 5 for All, as well as Greater Washington, presented insights from his article on the site selection process. It was a fairly long piece that he wrote for Greater Washington. So for folks interested, they can go to ggwash.org and find it there. During the April meeting, the task force discussed potential next steps, including submitting formal feedback to DCPL, including a letter acknowledging the report and requesting continued involvement in future planning, as well as conducting site visits to recent DCPL projects, including MLK, Southwest, Lemon Riggs, and West End, to inform expectations and provide and improve the quality of feedback that we can provide to DCPL. Their next meeting is May 13th. They're held every second Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Zoom. All interested neighbors are encouraged to join and participate.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Commissioner Sani, for the readout. We'll go to appointments to committees or task forces. I did not see any. Are there any from commissioners that may have heard from members of the public who are interested? Seeing none, we are at the point of adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
All right. We have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Jones, and this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.